A war criminal once said, "It may be dangerous to be America's enemy, but to be America's friend is fatal." I'm not Balkan, so I don't usually agree with war criminals, but this one was saying the truth here, because we all saw on video what unfolded between Trump and Zelensky, where an American ally, literally at war with America's enemy for like the last 100 years and the biggest country in the world, was shouted at and scolded by Trump, the vice president, and this guy as well. This whole argument was so artificial, it was crazy to see. Zelensky literally didn't do anything disrespectful or wrong, and they started yelling at him. Now, I'm from the hood, so you know sometimes people come up to you on the street just to start fucking with you and making up any reason to get into an altercation. This is exactly what happened. Demanding an apology, demanding a thank you, so fucking stupid. Especially because this was all on video and we can see the entire argument beginning to the end. And by we, I mean the entire world saw this unfold. And everyone saw how America treats its allies. And this live TV argument was so bullshit that even Americans think that Trump or JD Vance were guilty of starting everything. The thing is, America is legally required to protect Ukraine because they made Ukraine give up their nukes in exchange for protection from the US in the Budapest Memorandum. Let me start off by saying I absolutely hate the current American rule. America has never been the good guy or anything like that. No superpower really has been, but this is too much, man. We watched America literally curse out their allies.
Has been is live. Honestly, like, the more Trump crashes the economy, the better.
On live TV. Everybody knows I've been supporting Ukraine very hard since the war began, and after Ukraine started getting foreign aid, it became a populist move to shit on Ukraine, and all people who know nothing about the dynamics of post-Soviet countries have wanted to say their objectively incorrect opinions about this. Like, I'm sure Theo Vaughn really understands the dynamics here. He then deleted his post because he's a comedian and can't even fucking point to Europe on a map. And other people who are constantly on Trump's like Lex Friedman, you piece of who would interview a just to hear his side of the story and call him a friend whom he bonded with over their shared love of Russian literature or some shit. Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment fucking sucks. If I wanted to hear a Russian guy whining about being poor, they're right here, I would just go and fucking visit. And while Zelensky says that he doesn't think that his public humiliation was planned, I think he's low-key saying it to not fully ruin relations between him and the US, because there's this one Marjorie Taylor Greene who is extremely anti-Ukraine, and her boyfriend somehow got one of those rare Oval Office interviewer spots and decided to ask Zelensky this.
Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're the highest level in this country's office and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah,
First of all, country leaders who are at war with a much larger empire don't usually wear suits. They don't really have time for that shit, you know? It's only the motherfuckers who don't care about this wearing suits because it's not a life or death situation for them, such as Bush during all the Middle Eastern wars and more. You think if you're at war with the US or Russia, you're gonna give a fuck about wearing a suit? This is a talking point that has been propagandized from people funded by Russia or being a useful idiot that supports them for free. And also, Elon doesn't wear shit either. So these are clearly double standards. Elon Musk is in the Oval Office looking like one of those child predators they catch on YouTube and then beat up, along with a fucking chainsaw, and they're demanding Zelensky wear a suit and tie and make fun of him. So now a country's leader who is defending an aggressive war from the biggest country in the world is being made fun of from a guy who's famous for fucking this woman. And their whole argument was very disappointing to see. They're blaming him that he wants to start World War III, not the country that invaded them. You ever scroll through the news and feel like people are living two completely different realities? One headline is like, Zelensky just doomed Ukraine because he is bad, and the other says Zelensky is amazing. So which is it? Did he get cooked or did he cook? You can get very confused on the internet by
got cooked.
These types of articles, but you can also use ground news, which will help you see through the bullshit and figure out what's real. If I want to dodge, you know, I started usually after the rise of the far internet is a minefield, especially after the rise of the far right.
Where's my ground news check?
Every story feels like, and you don't know if you're getting news or propaganda, and ground news actually helps with that. And with everything going on, wars, elections, and whatever, now's the worst time to be clueless. Right now, you can get 40% off the Vantage plan, which gives you unlimited access to everything for only $5 a month. Just go to ground.news/Gattsu or scan the QR code on screen. Thank you a lot to Ground News for sponsoring the video. And I agree with Zelensky completely here. I cannot see one thing he said that was wrong, and I'm not even meat riding here. Russia has shown time and time again that they cannot be trusted with a ceasefire. Russia has been at war with Ukraine since 2014, and they have violated the ceasefire not once, not twice, but 25 times, until of course fully invading Ukraine in 2022. So obviously Zelensky is asking for security guarantees, because there have been at least 25 other cases with Ukraine alone where they have violated their ceasefire agreement. Do you think they became the biggest country in the world through diplomacy and not violating their ceasefire agreements? And right after this, Elon, who holds a significant amount of power since he's always with Trump and always keeps cutting services for normal Americans, because why does he care? He's a billionaire, he can cut Medicaid, it's not like he's gonna give a fuck, he doesn't need it. Elon said he wants to leave NATO and the UN, so then all of Europe is just undefended. Fucking North Korea is in the UN. This is the easiest way to destroy your global hegemony, and they did all this within a month. Literally, if Xi Jinping himself was on the phone with Trump and telling him what to do to destroy America in the fastest way possible and bring about the Chinese century, he would not be able to come up with all of this. Like, fuck you mean leaving the UN? What can I say? Good job, man. USA replaced Gulf of Mexico's name with Gulf of America, and China built 96,000 miles of rail. And after this clownery, Europeans went like, okay, we knew America was cooked and could not be trusted, but let's actually start doing shit about this. But you guys have to realize that Europeans are pussies who cannot do anything except waste paper through useless voting resolutions. As always, it's up to the European people to do stuff, since their politicians are fucking useless. So Tesla sales have nearly halved in Europe. Europe is actively looking for new allies such as India, China, and Canada. One of Norway's largest companies have announced that they will stop supplying fuel to the US Navy, and every American ally ever is actively looking for new allies now, including Canada, which is insane. Who knew that threatening to annex your neighbors, tariffing them, and threatening to leave their defense alliance would make them act this way? And motherfuckers were like, oh, you're meat riding China. Motherfucker, I have yet to see the CCP politicians hiling on the fucking stage. I don't like Nazis, therefore I'm getting paid by the CCP. Aight, bro. My grandpas were CCP shills as well for fighting against the Nazis in the Soviet Union, you fucking idiot. Just like me. And the thing is, they're treating Zelensky so harshly and abandoning the biggest country in Europe, Ukraine, so harshly that they showed to the world they do not give a fuck and will sacrifice anything and anyone for money. They're like, trade offer. I get to mine your entire country's minerals and keep them for myself as a profit, and in exchange, you get no security guarantees and nothing really. Maybe we just stop bad-mouthing you in the press and calling you a dictator, but that's about it. Maybe. The stupidest thing is that of the money that they sent to Ukraine, which wasn't even that much, Europe sent way more. 70% of
the trade offer meme is one of the best memes of all. Like, that guy fucking hit with that meme. Holy shit.
The money gets reinvested back into the US military companies, because they send their old stuff to Ukraine and then they need new ones, right? So they order new ones, and then those companies pay taxes and grow the American economy. But they resorted to making Zelensky seem like a fucking beggar and humiliating him live on stream. Also, destroying USAID was the funniest thing ever, because I saw a tweet. What if we create USAID to fund right-wing revolutions in countries instead of this leftist gay stuff? My brother, that is exactly what USAID does. What the fuck are you talking about? It's used for American influence in other countries. And yes, America does fund right-wing revolutions. That's why they have overthrown literally every single socialist leader or tried to. Don't forget that they've tried to assassinate Castro 634 times with methods such as an exploding cigar, the skin disease diving suit, making him high on LSD in his broadcasting studio so he'd start saying bullshit and ruin his public image, and they sent him a white woman. And this is what she said. He leaned over, pulled out his 45 and handed it to me. He didn't even flinch, and he said, "You can't kill me, nobody can kill me." And he kind of smiled and chewed on his cigar. I felt deflated. He was so sure of me. He just grabbed me. We made love.
That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.
USA was genuinely one of America's biggest soft power weapons to gain influence in the countries it operated in, and America does fund right-wing revolutions. They've been doing this shit since like the 50s. They would overthrow a good socialist or a social democratic leader for an...
Wait. USAID is good though. We need USAID.
Extreme capitalist that they themselves have trained and then privatize absolutely every resource in that country and all the state-owned companies and then get money for it, growing the American empire. And if you don't believe what I said, this whole strategy has a term for it called the shock doctrine, so you can look it up yourself as well, get a bunch of examples on where it has been used. It's genuinely so evil because they are playing with people's lives here, only to satisfy their egos and their capitalist money mindset. And this isn't the grind harder mindset, this is a loot people harder mindset, because the more Trump refuses to help their ally out, the more people will die, and they are pulling this stupid stunt of arguing and actively trying to embarrass their ally and treating him like a beggar. And the thing is, because Trump basically has a cult, his supporters will be like, oh, he's so cool for doing that. Take that, man who's trying to defend his country from the biggest country in the world. Because these people don't realize that they are in a cult following literal billionaires who do not care about the working class. They're literally shock doctrining themselves, where they're privatizing and getting rid of these essential human services under the pretense of saving money. Like, yes, man, I'm
Dude,
sure
he's so
the
good. Gattsu is awesome,
richest
man.
country in the world needs to save money by dismantling the Department of Education, while literally
Holy shit, Gattsu is amazing. Chat, by the way, we're 3 hours and 16 minutes in the stream. I know this has been kind of one of those weird cathartic streams where, you know, listen, I love Majority Report. I love Bad and Panada. I love Hassan. It's possible. I have converted. Oh, the Democratic Party sucks? Yeah, I told you, Austin. By the way, Austin, you're welcome to, I mean, I don't know why, I'm glad you're here. You know, Hassan goes, this is the one day Hassan starts streaming like really early. And you're here. How you doing, Austin, man? How are you doing, man? I will say that, wasn't my analysis of Nevada correct? Remember when we were analyzing the early vote totals in Nevada and I was talking about how, you know, and I gave my analysis and I'm not rubbing it in. I only ask Austin show because I want you guys to know something. This is why I respect Austin. This is why I respect Austin. Because not only he is good faith and he's intelligent. Do you know how rare that is? Do you understand how rare that is? There's a good faith person who's intelligent. It's like rarer than a fucking diamond. Now that's how you glaze, folks. I almost seem like I'm not homophobic right now. That's how much I'm glazing. I don't get intelligent that often, huh? You're just lying. You're asking for more compliments. You're lying right now. Flight simulator stream when? I would love to do something like that. I'm so good. It's a good thing I don't have that I have executive dysfunction, because goddamn, like I would have a whole full simulator. I have been getting shorts of DCS chat, which is this like war game basically where you fly fighter jets. It's like a simulator game. And I've been like, they've been slowly increasing the number of percentages of the shorts I have. And my dad was a fighter pilot. And I'm like so tempted to like get a setup for myself and my dad. And just have him teach me all the, in the simulator. Chat, what is flight sim? Flight simulator. It's basically you simulate being in the cockpit. That would be so much fun. Also, I want to get him Microsoft Flight Simulator because my dad is a plane autist. So, as you would expect. Anyway, yes, the Democratic Party is totally dog shit. And Austin, you're right. I think one of the things that I'm really frustrated with is that I knew all of this was going to happen. And the reason why I was anti-Kamala is because I saw the Democratic Party for what it is. Did you guys see? Now that Austin is here, let's quickly take a look over at this post. Listen to this. This is a story that was just released. Her rallies and convention speech had not answered the question of why she was running for president or how her vision for the country would deliver for voters, other than having been next in line. She was running out of major moments to explain a vision to a broad audience. Her September 10th debate with Trump would offer another opportunity, perhaps a last chance before voters cast early ballots, to establish that key part of her narrative. But the day of the debate, Biden called to give Harris an unusual kind of pep talk and another reminder about the loyalty he demanded. No longer able to defend his own record, he expected Harris to protect his legacy. Whether she won or lost the election, he thought, she would only harm him by publicly distancing herself from him, especially during a debate that would be watched by millions of Americans. To the extent that she wanted to forge her own path, Biden had no interest in giving her room to do so. He needed just 3 words to convey how much of all that mattered to him. No daylight, kid, Biden said. Now, I'm going to say that last sentence again. No daylight, kid, Biden said. All right, a couple of things here. Number one, I don't know if I would call this racist, but I would call it so profoundly disrespectful that if you did call it racist, I would accept it. This is the 60-year-old woman, vice president, and he's calling her kid. I don't like to throw around the word racist. I don't like to throw around the word misogynist very often. But my God, I think if you did, it would be reasonable. At the very least, you could call this fucking condescending bullshit, right? The other thing, okay, so that's just off the bat. If I were Kamala Harris and Joe Biden called me kid, I would make it so he would need to order a full replacement of the dentures. Okay, like, what the fuck are you talking about, bitch? You just got pushed out of the election because you're so hated. Shut up. The second thing is, she listened? She listened? How incompetent and weak and pathetic. Okay, so first of all, this is so disrespectful and racist, and then she cucked herself and listened. Joe Biden has negative Riz, negative drip, negative everything, negative pool, negative, like nobody gives a shit about Joe Biden. What could he possibly do to her? Go on TV and mumble? It would make her go up in popularity. So the fact that she listened to him and didn't create daylight is absolutely fucking insane. Also, he's just an idiot. The only way his reputation could have been saved is from her winning. Nobody would have remembered the tactics that got her there. Her winning would have been the only thing that could save his reputation. He should have been doing everything he could to get her to across the finish line, Not having her say that she's, you know what, like, what an idiot. The fact that he was replaced by Trump, he had to drop out and his vice president lost to him. That is the biggest refutation of his place in history than anything. And everything he did is getting pulled away. Joe Biden did so little in the first place that it's hardly a thing that he did. But now everything he did is being ripped up by the roots. It's like he was never even president. He has no legacy. He has nothing that Joe Biden did was going to carry on into the future. He was utterly and completely rejected and humiliated and defeated. So the idea, and then, okay, there's another factor, which is Joe Biden the most narcissistic scumbag that has ever lived? So he's a racist, misogynist, or at least the most disrespectful scumbag I've ever seen in my life. And I am standing up for Holocaust Harris right now. That's how you know it's bad. The second thing is he's so fucking stupid. He doesn't even understand that his legacy would be better maintained by her distancing herself from him and winning than her bear hugging him and losing. Nobody looks at that election and goes, I wish Joe Biden had stayed in. He would have won. People are like, thank God Kamala ran. We only lost 5 Senate races in this house. You know, they're like, wow, she made the loss less narrow or less big. She made it narrow. She narrowed the defeat because they realized just how unpopular and catastrophic Joe Biden would have been. What the fuck is he talking about? So my reaction to this is that I don't know what to say other than Kamala Harris should never lead anything ever again because she's a fucking loser. The second thing I would say is Joe Biden is the worst president of my lifetime. And the third thing I would say is subscribe right now. What the fuck are you doing? We're 56 subs short of the sub goal. And we're a mere 45 subs short of 7,000. So if you're going to hang out here and listen to my rants for hours on end, pay for your own goddamn subscription. What is this shit? You think I'm streaming for free? I have ads turned off. You turn on my stream, you get 0 ads. What does no daylight mean? It means that he didn't want her to criticize him in any way. Grotesque shield transaction. You're goddamn right. If you enjoy this content, then please consider supporting it by subscribing at tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 sub. If you have Amazon Prime, attach it to your Twitch account. You get 1 free sub a month. That's your Twitch Prime sub. Be like Calm Like a Tom, who has gifted 5,089 subs to this channel. If you haven't hit the 5,000 gift sub point, you need to get to work, okay? Get to work. Dr. Brainslug gifted 50. Now he's above 3,000. Now these are Oilers. Those are my 2 biggest Oilers, by the way, I think. I think you guys are my 2 biggest Oilers. My 2 biggest sub gifters. Oh, and that's over 6 years of streaming. Even still, 5,000 subs is crazy. I've been streaming for 6 years. You're gifting like 800 subs a year. That's a fucking lot. Thank you so much. How the fuck do they have that much money? It's called being rich. Probably programmers, if I had to guess. The no ads screwed me. I forgot to redo my Prime, and now I lost my precious streak. You deserve to lose your streak because you didn't subscribe faster. No pity. Any thoughts on who would vote for California governor? I would vote for Katie Porter because she makes the right people mad. She makes the right people mad, which is fine. Although I don't know who's running. I just heard that she was running. So I vote for whoever will make the people I hate mad. That's what I'm doing with my politics right now. Sub for 6 months at tier 3 and like I do, and you won't have to worry about losing your streak. Exactly. Exactly. Let's see here. Pakistan Lover Boy, Dumb Boring Dad, Neuro Code, Ham and Fist. Thank you for the 20. Can we get some bended knees for Ham and Fist? Cosmos 84, Undead Wookie with the 5 tier 1s, and Dr. Braid Slug with the 50 bomb. The motherfucking 50 bomb. Why are you not bending the knee to the Oilers? DSA knee, DSA oil. I know people here who have been subscribed to my channel for like 3 or 4 years and have never paid for a sub. Iris Reese gave 20. This is what we're talking about, chat. Rhetoric, thank you for the 30 months of tier 1. Dumb Boring Dad, thank you for the 5. Irish Reese with the 20 gifted sub. Now that's socialism, exactly. Socialism is when you give Mike from PA more of your money.
Exclusive How No Daylight from Biden Crippled the Harris Presidential Campaign by Amy Parnas. Excerpted from Fight, Inside the Wildest Battle for the White House by Jonathan Allen and Amy Parnas. To be published.
The AI is getting better. It's not quite good, though. Oria81 Borka, thank you for gifting another sub. And Space Case, thank you. This is what I'm talking about, chat. Don't forget, by the way, you could give bits. The top sub gifter and the top bit donor get the conductor badge, which is a golden locomotive that then becomes a purple locomotive you get to keep forever. Consig, thank you so much for gifting 5 as well. Mike, I had so many baggers this month, I had to sub to watch one of the VODs. I mean, like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, I'm mad that there's not anyone intelligent on the American left. You know, like, Bernie Sanders is probably the best politician we have. But he's got a lot of flaws. One of them is that he's 83 years old. And his age is starting to catch up with him. He started to be like, when he speaks lately, it sounded like his dentures are loose. I don't know what's going on. Jules Verne, thank you for the 5 tier 1. It's like somebody needs to help him. Thank you for my mush. Thank you for my mush. Vio has given me mush. I'm on a mush diet. Mr. Ramsey Pizzle, thank you for the 5 tier 1. And Zoran is so cool. Can we do a fundraiser for Zoran? Yeah. Actually, I kind of want to do one in person, to be honest with you. Who do I know in LA that has a house? I wonder if he would do one. His fundraising deadline is today, guys. That I'm going to tell you a secret. Deep fried Luigi, thank you for the 5 tier 1s. I'm going to tell you a secret. Fundraising deadline shit is just something to make you want to donate now. It's an old tactic. I consider it to be ethical because you're not lying, but it's not. They're going to still be spending money, okay? We don't have to give it all today. You should if you want. Donate if you can. Help them hit their goals, but, like, you know, just call it's manufactured urgency. It's not a big deal. New York City has 8-to-1 matching. If you donate at least $10, the city will match your donation with $80. If you live in New York City, that's true. Ethan Klein has a house in LA. Yeah. I will honestly, I will ask Hassan if he wants to do it. I think it's a bit much of an ask because he has so many freaks. So I'm gonna see if there's somebody else who's like not Hassan. I'm gonna ask like other people. I'm gonna try to figure out somebody who's not Hassan who has a house. That would be interesting. What's up, Mango Breezy? You don't know Hassan like that? Yeah, I do. What are you talking about? The fuck are you talking about? Of course I do. Wallow called him and said Zoran wanted to do well with Hassan. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. There you have it. No! Oh, Jesus Christ. I almost clicked that link. Act Blue like puts your address in it. The Dow Jones is crashing again? I'm in ADHD mode. Stocks tumble on Thursday, pushing the S&P 500 to a 10% correction. Trump took to his True Social platform Thursday morning to threaten 200% tariffs on all alcohol products coming from countries in the European Union. This is crazy, dude. Mike, high yield savings account or bonds? I mean, the high yield savings account is likely not going to remain high yield if a recession happens, and a bond will appreciate. That being said, I am not your financial advisor and I have no advice. Or, you know, also, there's no guarantee that interest rates are going to go down. But under a recession, bonds should do better.
Started becoming increasingly...
Okay, what was I going to watch? I was watching something. America's downfall. We got distracted by everybody.
Every other country in the world has that department. America already is extremely privatized to the point where when healthcare CEOs are getting capped, everyone is like,
It had to be done.
and these people still want to privatize everything more, so it becomes even more capitalist and they loot even more money from normal Americans. Of course, they fired a ton of people because they needed to save money, and also they want to cut Medicaid to pay for 4.5 trillion in
The crying guy, the crying British guy is just insane. Can I get a link to his TikTok again? Tesla Cybertrucks are absolutely pieces of shit.
Finding out brand new information about just how bad the Cybertruck actually is in 2025. So a very popular YouTuber named Jerry Rig Everything just put out a great new video on the Cybertruck where he puts the aluminum frame to a very precise test. So one of the craziest takeaways from this video for me is that the Cybertruck's frame is made out of a single piece of casted aluminum. And we already knew that, but what I didn't know was that aluminum doesn't have a fatigue limit, meaning the more that you tow with the Cybertruck, the more you wear down the aluminum frame over time. Every time you tow with the Cybertruck, you're wearing down the frame a little bit, increasing the risk of an accident. So it might not break today, but 3 or 4 years down the road, you might hit a pothole and it's a different story, whereas there would be no problem if you were in a truck with a steel frame. He even proves this in the video, bringing out this truck from 2004 and applying the maximum amount of weight that he can with his excavator to the tow hitch, 10,700 pounds, and it's totally
in the hospital. I love you so much.
Bro, if I was shot, I don't think I would cry like this. I don't think I have that emotional... Like, I don't think I even have that emotion in my emotional toolbox. Like, I don't even think it exists. Holy fucking hell, dude.
tax cuts, and mass deportations, the GOP plans to roll back the federal healthcare insurance program. This translates to make Elon Musk and other billionaires richer and deport working people, we need to cut the healthcare insurance for normal people. And because of America abandoning their allies and abandoning their people just to be literal oligarchy, everybody is losing hope in the US, including Americans and including GDP forecasts, where they forecast the American economy is going to plunge nearly -3% in the first quarter. It's just crazy to see all this, and it's only been 40 days. We have to be here for the next 3 years and 10 months. Every morning, breaking news Donald Trump, breaking news JD Vance, breaking news Elon Musk. I don't want the news to be breaking anymore. Can it just be Trump making McDonald's or something for once? Please, instead of abandoning their allies? What the fuck even is the strategy here? Also, they're like, yes, Ukraine is bad for wanting money to defend against the biggest country in the world, which is also a nuclear power.
Did you see
But
they released
Israel-
the first 3 episodes of Andor season 1 for free on YouTube? Oh, hell yeah.
No worries, man. We'll cut healthcare for our citizens, fire workers, and cut aid to Ukraine. But you're fine because you're just an extension of the US. Oh, and also, on top of shitting on Ukraine and leaving it, he's talking about removing sanctions of Russia. So that is just plain evil, man. Trump's administration just loves fascist dictators. You bet your ass if Trump was with he would be talking about removing sanctions of him and that he's a great guy, and like that Czechoslovakia and Poland want World War II, and America abandoning Ukraine like this reminds me of the words of Georgia's first president.
Between the West and the Soviet Empire, there have always been deals. Yalta is known. Munich is known. The Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact is known. Yes, Malta is known, and many other things are known as well. And let's not be on the side of the empire. Be on the side of your own nation and not on the side of deals with the West. Be on the side of our nation and serve your nation. This is the duty of the parliament and the duty of a deputy. And not play a double game between the empire and us.
And the egg prices are still going up. TLDR, don't trust billionaires. Like and subscribe, and goodbye.
I'm so glad I came across Gattsu, because this guy rules, dude. This guy fucking rules. The kids are all right, dude. The kids are all right.